Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, thank you all for having me into this unique conference of its kind. My special thank goes to Professor Ali and his team, particularly this young generation, energetic and active young women and men who are working behind the screen. That's so fantastic. And thirdly, I would extend my appreciation to our Turkey society as a government and as a society. Without them, this conference would not have happened at all. And this conference actually touches me personally. And any young person, men or women, you ask them of Somali origin, of course, they tell you they are students. That's really fantastic. And that's an indicator of the Somali future. So this is my topic. When Professor Ali communicated to me in order to develop a paper about Somali diaspora engagement or relationship with Turkey, I said, okay, that's really great. So the paper won't specifically be between Somali diaspora and Turkish diaspora, but in a sense, it will be between Somali diaspora and the Turkish society, either back home here in Turkey or in diaspora itself. So this is the topic. First of all, I would like to define the term of diaspora. Diaspora community are dispersed society into two or more countries outside of their country of origin. He have in mind to, at some point, to come back to their country of origin to rebuild. In the Somali mindset, diaspora are those who are living only in the West. But those who are living in Africa or maybe in Asia, in the Somali mindset, are not included in diaspora. And yesterday was a young person here in Turkey who asked me, am I a diasporic person? Turkey also is a Europe country, also is an Asian country. And I said, it's the way you think yourself. So in that sense, I might not include at all the Somali diaspora living in Africa or maybe in Asia. But if you are in Turkey, just feel free the way you think yourself. I think okay, great. So the Somali diaspora is becoming one of the largest diasporic community in the world. More than 2 million Somalis are outside of Somalia, probably. I'm talking in the West. Somalia is truly a globalized society. In terms of figures and population, then you can read for yourself. The largest Somali diasporic community is actually based in UK, estimated around 500,000, less or more. And then maybe UK can be the second, and then the Canada. I don't know how many of them in Turkey, roughly 4,000, I don't know. I haven't got any figures. All these figures coming from the data or information. If you look at this picture, you can find that the bigger boxes actually represent more than 10,000 and plus. It could be 400,000, 300,000 too, or maybe 20,000 or 50,000. Okay, so my research, it's a combination of literature review and at the same time qualitative, in which I conducted questionnaire surveys, and I was also assisted by a young man, his name Abdul Sayyid. I really appreciate him. He assisted me to collect data here from Turkey, from the Somali people who came from the West, from Europe or maybe North America, and who are now living here in Turkey, either maybe students or maybe business or different reasons. So some of them are based here in Turkey, And unfortunately, all of them were men. We couldn't get any women. 8 participants are from UK, from London. Some people I know them and just contacted them personally. So I kept the balance, gender balance between men and women. So you can see 4 women and 4 men. And a friend of mine who is based in the States. So the data and the information I'm giving you basically want to be my own interpretation or understanding. It will be basically, the information I got from the perspective of the young Somalis. Not young, basically, but most of them are young Somalis. But before I present my qualitative data, I will share with you some quantitative perspective or maybe literature review. Many of them were mentioned yesterday, so I just removed it. But I spared just a few points. We are very, very important. So historical ties between Turkey and Somalia was very constructive in nature. That's very, very important. And that assisted the 2 societies, again, to revisit their historical background and develop a new relationship. So the visit of His Excellency Erdogan was a historical, historical event to galvanize the Somalis. And during his visit in 2011, a Facebook was set up, and thousands of Somalis from the diaspora actually contributed to say thank you very much, Erdogan or Turkey people. So it was so kind of mobilizing. Diaspora sent countless letters to his office and to other diplomatic offices outside of Turkey. At that time, I was in Australia, and many Somali diaspora actually went to Turkish embassies in diaspora just to say thank you very much. Somali diaspora's positive feeling about Turkey was actually inspired by honest, approach of the Turkish society themselves. Somalis are supported and helped by many people, but the Turkey case is totally different. The other support coming from the West or from the Arabs or somewhere else was mainly governmental support. And in a sense, it was an interest-based support. But the Turkish support was really, it was based on good faith and good intention, and it was a societal level. And in that sense, Erdogan actually managed to even mobilize his own society during Ramadan and involve them, in supporting Somalia to fundraise more than maybe around $300 million, dollars just during Ramadan. So that was societal support. And during my literature review, I came across that a lot of Somali writers and actually intellectuals started to engage with Turkey in different ways, just to write about Turkish involvement in Somalia. Most of the publications written in English language, basically written by the Somali diaspora. So that sort of engagement and interaction with the Turkish engagement with Somalia. There was a senator in Mississippi. He wanted to develop a legislation or maybe a law that could recognize Turkey as a genocide in the case of Armenia, but 5,000 Somalis in the States, in the USA, wrote more than 5,000 letters, and sent it to that senator, and the case collapsed. So there was really great support from the Somali diaspora to the Turkey in the issue. Turkey, embassies in Canada and USA are so active to engage with the Somali diasporas over there. In fact, the current immigration minister of Canada, His Excellency Ahmed Hussein, during the coup, he was here in Istanbul and he was a guest to the Turkish government. And global Somali diaspora was established in 2014, but before that time there was a conference in 2012 organized here in Istanbul, civil society conference. And in that conference, half of the attendees or participants were from the diaspora. So that was the first kind of formal engagement with the diaspora. And one of the recommendations was to establish Somali Diaspora Association. And from there, in 2014, a group of Somali intellectuals actually managed to engage with the Turkish government and developed the idea to establish a global Somali diaspora, in which I'm a member of its board members, and Jawahir is the chairperson of Global Somali Diaspora. A state-run institute called the Yunus Amr also has a lot of engagement with Somali diaspora in Europe. They bring a lot of young Somalis from North America and some from Europe to Turkey as kind of cultural and religious maybe practice and engagement. So now I will just present you the real data based on my qualitative research. Sorry. Data presentation. So when I asked them, why do you go to Turkey? Most of them, their response was this one for holiday, just to enjoy the holiday, beautiful landscape of Turkey, to understand Islamic history in Turkey. That's the way Somali diaspora actually do come to Turkey. Educational and employment purposes in the future. And when I asked them if they actually have met their expectations, most of them, except one person, they said, yes, we met our expectations. Okay, diaspora voices, they talking, this is their voices. It was beyond my expectation, and I was really surprised by how developed it was, Turkey. Example, transport link, nightlife, safety, and very friendly people, Ferdowsa. Wonderful history, delicious food, very friendly local people. Gulet, that was a statement from Gulet. Looking to return to Turkey with the rest of my family. Young lady, her name Kali. She came here as one person, and she said, next time definitely I will bring home my family. So you see that kind of influence. Okay, flying with Turkish Airways, most of them, 90%, traveled from diaspora to Turkey using Turkish Airlines. And I asked them why. They gave them two main reasons. One of them is the good services. It's the best airline, that's what they said. I think this is a promotion for Turkish Airlines in any ways. And then the other one, and also they said Turkish Airlines because someone said, okay, 5 minutes. Okay, I'll finish inshallah in 5 minutes. And the other one said, okay, diaspora told me that they wanted to help the Turkish Airlines because Turkish people and Turkish Airlines helped Somalia when we needed it the most. And now it's our turn. Our money should go to Turkey. So you see, they did some favor for us. It's our turn. We should actually also send our money to Turkey. Attractions and influence in Turkey. So when they come here, what kind of attraction and influence they actually meet in Turkey? Turkish cultural and historical aspects shaped by Islam, Islamic visibilities. They mentioned that was really something they like it. Mosque, everywhere it's so beautiful mosque in Istanbul. And hearing the adhan, even in the morning in the Salat al-Subh, you hear that kind of psychological support and emotional support. And in that sense, most Somali diasporas are now in a stage of redefining their Islamic identity in a way that goes alongside with the Turkish way of Islam. So they see Turkey as a role model that can provide Islam that's democratic and developed, and that can actually offer a good governance compared to other Islamic states. Turkish food, beautiful landscape, beach, and they mention all this. I haven't been, but anyway, I learned, from them. Sorry. Okay, continue. Diaspora voices. I like it, Islamic visibilities, mosque and the muazzin ilmi. I like it, the culture and how welcoming the people are. Not to mention the food was phenomenal, and they had excellent climate. I think that was not in the winter time. I think that was the summertime, basically. That was a Dirir said that. Okay, the challenge, I should also mention the challenge they meet, the language barrier. They say that's really the main thing they actually talking about. Traffic system, they say it's quite very speedy. And also immigration system, they say it's quite very tough, very difficult. And actually they didn't mention a cultural barrier. That is very, very important. In the West, in UK, in USA, if you ask them, they mention first the culture shock, cultural differences. And it actually indicates that Islam has established cultural commonalities between Turkey and Somalia. So we don't feel as a Somalis outsiders when we are here. Culturally, we are relevant. Diaspora voices. Most Turkish people don't speak other language. They may avoid, they may not even English or Arabic, but actually they may avoid. They are so proud of their own language. Almost finished, Jawahir. Okay, Turkey is becoming a meeting hub for Somalis. London was a meeting hub for Somalis in Europe. You can find anyone from other European countries in London. But Turkey is unique now. You can find anyone, every Somali is from Europe and from North America, from Middle East and from Somalia. So it's developing itself a new way of services that requires a lot of research and understanding. Okay, Turkish-Somali diaspora relationship. At societal level, they said it's not really strong. Basically, it's a political relationship. Also, there is a mutual respect and understanding. But it's not there a formal societal relationship from Somali diaspora in UK and Turkish diaspora in UK, for instance. So then you can read the recommendations. That's the most important part of the presentation. So you can read for yourself. Okay, Turkey government should prioritize institutional building and the Somali diaspora knowledge, skills, and expertise transfer, including investing in the return of the educated professional Somali diaspora. Develop and organize Somali-Turkish diaspora joint activities, for instance, in UK. Okay, develop and organize. Each community should actually invite the other community when they are organizing their own activities. Organize a joint conferences and events such this conference to create a common ground. Establish joint community friendship centers. Turkey-Somali diplomats can play a very critical role. I can understand Turkey diplomats are doing great, but our ambassador and other Somali diplomats also are expected to play the same role, to reach out Turkish diaspora and also to facilitate the two communities to engage in a way. The Somali diaspora, the more they visit Turkey, the more also they create, naturally the relationship. Thank you very much.